Stamping board, perfect. So once again, we're going to be making the treat holder with a gift card slot. This is perfect. You can put in chocolates or treats or a small gifty. Mine has the lemon heads, perfect for treats. And it appears that there's a lot of scoring, a lot of math going on, but no worries. I've got it all written down for you, and I'm going to walk you through creating it. So this particular one, I am using the By the Dock bundle and stamp set. It's got the coordinating dies, really cute images, perfect for Father's Day or cards for him. It's got a happy birthday sentiment, a here for you, and I always am able to mask that so you can go much further with the stamps that are in the set. It's got some nice elements, and it's also got the coordinating dies, some of which don't necessarily have a stamp to go along with it. There's a couple of different sets of oars, the boat and the little dock. Really nice elements to create a project. So either cards or 3D or even scrapbook pages. So that's the bundle I'm working with. The paper I'm working with is the Come Sail With Me, I believe it's called. It is still available. It's perfect with the Sail Away set, but it's got a lot of nice colors, the blues, the neutrals, and whites. So really fun patterns all the way around. And for this particular one, I am going to be building the box on a sheet of Sahara sand. So it's a nice neutral. We're going to start off with the full sheet, which is of course 8.5 by 11. You are going to find it very convenient to use your stamping trimmer. Of course it cuts and it scores at the same time. An alternate too, if you prefer, sometimes is the score board. It also works well for boxes. The punches that I'm using, I think it's called the, let's see, I think this is the Timeless punch. It's got some nice rounded sides to it that's going to be perfect for creating the slots. I'm also using the Triple Trio punch, which has a nice corner rounder. It's got a little flower, and it's also got a small slot that's perfect for inserting bows. And I'm using the 1/2 inch circle punch as well. So all three tools, very handy to have available. And again, let's see if I can put that right up there. So as I said, you don't need to write this down. I've got the measurements on a PDF that you're going to be able to download. It's got the supplies that we are needing, and it's got the measurements that you need to cut and score at. And I've also included a photo of what your cardstock will look like after you have scored and cut. So sometimes it looks a little bit confusing when you're making score lines, not sure where you're going with it. This is kind of helpful to see what you're shooting for. And again, it's all on the paper, so you don't have to write it down. I also thought it might be handy, besides the PDF, if I showed you this. So you're going to take your 8.5 by 11 cardstock. We're going to do some cutting, we're going to do some scoring, and a lot of it is actually going to be cut away. So those big X's, we're going to cut that away. The dashed lines or the cut lines, you should be able to see some scoring on here. And again, some more that we're going to be cutting away. So I'm going to walk you through it. It looks a little bit intimidating, but it's actually fairly simple. Again, we're going to use our stamping trimmer. I'm going to start off by cutting my 8.5 side down to 7 3/4. So I'm just going to insert that. I'm going to come over. On the stamping trimmer, you are going to need to be familiar with the 1/8 inch mark. So let's see if I can bring this up a little bit. When we look at the markings on the trimmer, we've got our full inch. Of course, halfway between the 0 and the 1 would be the 1/2 inch. then we've got the fourths in between the ½ inch there. So we've got fourths, the half, 3/4, and the full. And then if we divide that 1/4 one more time, those are the 1/8 marks. So this is the mark that we're going to be needing mostly for this project. So we need to be familiar with the 1/8 inch marks. And if you're just joining me, we are going to be making this nice treat and gift card holder box. We've got a lot of cutting and scoring to do. So we're going to start off with our stamping trimmer, a sheet of 8.5 by 11, and we're going to trim that down to 7 3/4 by 11. So I'm just going to lift up my trimmer. I'm going to bring this over and I'm going to slide it all the way over to 7 3/4. So it comes up right there. And you want to be fairly careful that you're trying to get it on the mark. This box, as I said, it's measured in 1/8, so it's kind of critical that you be as accurate as you can be. So leave it at that. 7 3/4 by 11. Now we're going to start our scoring, and I'm going to swing it around a little bit so I can work with it here. You see my first score line is going to be at ½ inch. I'm going to pull that cutting blade out of the way. So the ½ inch is right up here again between the track and the 1. We're going to pull it up to the ½ inch mark right on the line. It's kind of nice because we've got the guide also down below, so you can make sure that your cardstock is straight and it didn't go askew. I'm going to press that down and go ahead and score that ½ inch score. I'm going to push it over to 1 7/8. So 1 inch. There's the 2, and I just need to go back 1/8 of an inch to 1 7/8. And again, I'm going to use my edge up here to abut the cardstock and make sure that it's nice and even. I want to be sure I've got the scoring as precise as I can. So 1 7/8. Now I'm going to push it all the way over to 5 7/8. So there's my 5. Of course, 7/8 is just under 6 inches there. 1/8 under 6 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and score. And one final score is at 7 3/4. So move it over 7 1/4. And we're working on this 7 3/4 inch side right now. So there's 7 1/4. Gonna score that. All right, so there's my short end. Now I'm gonna come up and score the longer end, which is the 11 inch side. And I'm just gonna rotate it. And I'm gonna start off at ½ inch. So I'm gonna start here. There's my ½ inch mark. I'm going to abut it way up at the top and make sure I'm using my guide all the way down to the ½ inch marking. I'm going to go ahead and score that. So that's the ½ inch is probably the most difficult because you've just got a tiny bit of cardstock to balance there. The rest is going to get much easier. So 1 7/8. And which is just shy of 2 inches. I'm going to go up to 3 1/4. Then it's 4 5/8. These boxes are going to be handy to have on hand for gift giving, and it's kind of nice because when you don't have them filled, you can actually fold them flat for storage. Makes it a lot easier to make a few and put them away. Now my next score, which is at 6, it's a little bit tricky. That's why I've got it asterisked, and I do have it asterisked on my PDF as well. I'm still going to push it up to 6 inches, but this is actually just a marking or a guideline. It's not going to be a fold line. So I'm not going to want to score it all the way through. I'm only going to score up to the second score line, which is 1 7/8 on the perpendicular line. So I'm just going to go ahead and score that. Again, this is just going to be a guide, and I'm going to do the same at the bottom as well. So the 6-inch score doesn't go through the center of the box. It's not going to be a fold, it's just a guide. The next one, I go up to 8 3/8, which is just over 8 1/4. And I'm going to score that. And my final score is going to be 10 3/4, so almost to the edge. I'm just going to have a 1/4 inch fold up at the top. Okay, so now I'm going to have one more score to do. And again, this is just a guide, so I'm going to come up to that marking, which is 1 7/8, and I'm going to bring that over so that I have just a 1/2 inch at that side there. So I'm taking that second score line up to the 1/2 inch mark, and I'm just going to score. And just up at the top here, and it'll make sense once we are, actually got it upside down, so let me rotate that. I need that longer piece, not the end that has the scores at 1 3/8 inches apart. So one more time, there's my 1 7/8 inch mark. I need to take that over so that it's just 1/2 inch there. And I'm going to score that down. Hopefully I'm on the right side. Something makes me think I'm not on the right side. There we go. All right, we are done with scoring. Now we are going to grab our paper snips. And again, I kind of gave you a guide. We're going to be snipping where we have dash lines. We're going to be eliminating these panels, and we're going to be doing a little bit of cutting here. So it's going to fold up and down. That's what creates the little slot for the gift card holder and your little box end for the treats inside. So the first thing I like to start with when I'm constructing a box, if we made all those score lines, it's really helpful to go ahead and use your bone folder and burnish all of those scores down. So I'm going to start down here at the bottom at the 1/2 inch side. So you'll notice we've actually got like 3 different panels here. This is going to be the box side of the treat holder. When I fold the cardstock, I usually look for that valley fold. That's going to go to the outside. So I'm just going to flip it over and start burnishing. I kind of give it a start by folding it up and go ahead and burnish it down so you've got some nice crisp folds. And you'll notice at the bottom you're going to have several scores to fold up. So you're just going to keep going up on the score line, really easy to do. And the next one, you're going to notice that's the one that only has the guides. It's not actually a score line, so we're going to skip that one. We're going to go up to the next score, which is almost getting to the top, and I'm just going to come down so I can keep it in view. And then that final one, which is just a 1/4 inch. And again, I like to give it a start by pulling it up and over. That way it makes it a little bit easier to manage the paper. Kind of can be the boss of the paper instead of it bossing you around. So we've got all our horizontal scores. I'm going to flip it, and now I'm going to do the other scores, which go down the length of the box. That's the 1/2 inch score. And another one on this end. And flip it over, do the same on the other side. And one more time. Okay, so I've got the cardstock folded on all the score lines. I'm now ready to start trimming it out to create the box. I'm going to use my paper snips, and I'm going to start at the bottom of the box, And so the first one's going to be that 1/2 inch score. I'm going to be eliminating these 2 outer edges. So what that looks like is eliminating these 2 ends. And the way I do that, I'm going to snip at an angle up to the first score. Then I'm just going to trim that off all the way from the end. And I'm just using the score line here as my snipping guide. And we're going to take that away. We're going to do the same on the other side, and I'm using that angle so it won't be so bulky when we fold over. And I'm going to also cut this end away. There we go. Okay, so we've got our first fold. That's actually going to be the little tab that secures the box up. Now I'm going to start snipping up to the 1 7/8 inch score line on each score that goes perpendicular to that. So I actually have 4. I have 1 at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The last one, remember, it's just that guide that we're going to cut on. We don't cut all the way across, nor do we fold all the way across. So I'm going to go ahead and cut on the score lines. Right up to that 1 7/8 inch score. And this is the last one. Remember, we only go up to the score. And now I'm going to go up to the 3rd panel from the bottom here. So 1, 2, 3. This one's actually going to be snipped away completely. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that and snip it off. And we're almost getting there. I do like to clean it up just a little bit. I'll show you what I'm going to be doing in just a second. So these 2 panels are actually going to be just folds. And so we're going to cut half of it off. So I'm going to just flip it, and I'm looking at the area between the first score and the 1 7/8 inch score, and I'm just going to eyeball it and cut right in between. I'm going to cut away half of that. And I'm going to do the same on the other panel as well. So I'm just going to cut away half of that. There you go. Now what I'd like to do is do a little sliver off. That way when we fold up the box, it's nice and clean, not so bulky. And I'm just coming in at an angle and snipping away a tiny, tiny little sliver. And I'm also going to trim off just a tiny bit. I'm going to clean this up so that I take off that little score bump as well. It's going to make the difference in your box folding nice and smoothly. There we go. And I'm going to do the same up here. Just going to clean it up a tiny bit. There we go. So now, whatever I did on this side, I'm going to do on the opposite side as well. I'm going to go ahead and turn. Let me take a break here. All right, so I'm going to start cutting away these folds. And I'm going to start right here on the first one. I'm just going to make a snip up to the first score line. Cut the next one. And keep going. And one more. And I'm going to repeat just like I did on the other side. So I'm going to go up to the 3rd panel, and that's going to get eliminated completely. And I'm going to trim down the 2 flaps, just eyeballing right between that little square there. And on the last tab. All right. So what we're seeing almost is the box, and you can see when I place that over, you can see all the area that I eliminated. All of those panels were taken off. And I'm also going to clean up on this side. So I like to have those nice little angled corners there for the flaps so that they fold in nicely. And I'm going to straighten that last little flap off. Okay. So now I'm going to continue cutting and eliminating. I'm going to have to take off a portion up at the top here. And, oh, I did score on the wrong side. No worries, because a lot of this is going to be coming off. So what you can see happening here is this is the box construction here. This is going to come down to hold the gift card holder. So we have to eliminate these side panels here. And I did score on the wrong side. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut. It's no worries. We're cutting it anyway. I'm going to make that little angle tab. And I'm going to eliminate the rest of that panel. And this is going to be a little panel here, so that gets trimmed off. We're going to trim in this fold so you can see what I'm doing here. Now I'm going to do the same on this side. It does not need the little flap. This flap is actually to hold the gift card from slipping all the way over. So you can see once it reaches that area, it will come up to the edge of the opposite side. So we're going to eliminate all of this panel, just cutting straight down on the score line up to, let's see, that 6-inch flap. There we go. All right, so it's coming together roughly. I'm going to do that angle on this side of the flap as well. There we go. All right, so we have pretty much the basic construction of the box going on here. There's a couple of things I like to do with my punches to help out with just the detail on the finished box. So I'm going to take my 1/2-inch circle punch. I'm going to come in to this panel right here that has no flap. I'm going to make just a little notch. That's going to be where the box folds in. And it helps with that little flap, and it gives a nice finished polished look to the box. So we've got that, and I'm also going to then take my trio punch, which has that corner rounder, and I'm going to round the corners on the flaps that are going to fold in. So I like to do it, I'm just going to push up to, there's a little guide here on this trio punch. You push all the way in, punch down, and then I'm just going to rotate it over and do the other side of the flap as well. And so now all I did was do the corner rounding on the flap. I'm going to do the same on the opposite side. So just bringing it in. And the other side as well. There we go. So we've done some of our punching there. So we've got almost the basic box completed. It's going to come up there. You can start to see the little flaps are going to go in. This is going to fold over, and this is going to come down. So we need to do some adhering and a little bit of detailing. We're going to go ahead and next take this flap here, and I'm going to create a little notch for the gift card to slide through. So I'm going to take that Timeless label punch, I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to insert it into the cardstock. And you can kind of see we've got a curve going on and then it straightens out. I'm just going to push the cardstock up to where it starts to become a straight edge. And I'm going to try and get right in the center there. Punch down. There we go. So now we've got a nice notch for our gift card to peek out from. Let's do some adhering. And I like to use the liquid glue, especially for box construction. It's nice and sturdy and very forgiving. The first panel I'm going to do, I'm going to take that little 1/2 inch tab. I'm going to apply a little bit of liquid glue, not a lot. There we go. I'm going to close it up. And this is where I'm saying these are easy to store flat because they will fold down flat like this. So that's our first side we're going to adhere, and I'm just going to burnish that down. Put a little bit of weight on that so it dries. Okay. Now I'm going to do my second side up at the top. I'm going to take this panel right here, and it kind of looks like I could even that out a little bit. It's not critical because it's going to go to the inside, and it's only there as a stopping guide for the gift card. So I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive, fold that in. And just go ahead and make sure that's glued down shut. Next, I'm going to bring the gift card portion down. So I have that tiny 1/4 inch flap up at the top. That's where my glue is going to go. And again, just a little bit. You don't want it oozing out or getting messy or sticky. So not a lot. I'm going to go ahead and fold that over. And again, this is where you're going to insert your gift card. Burnish that down. And we pretty much have our box completed. The next thing we're going to do is just go ahead and decorate it. So I know Father's Day is going to be coming up. That's why I chose the By the Dock suite, and I'm using the Come Sail Away paper. I also have the dimensions for this posted on the PDF, so no need to write them down. I took some of the striped blue and white paper. This measures 3 3/4 across, and what I did, I'm only going to need 2 1/8 here, and 1 1/8 here, 1 1/8 here. And so when you bring those together, you can see it's easiest if you just cut a paper that's 3 3/4 by 4 1/8. That way, especially if it's stripes, when you cut horizontally, the stripes are going to line up going all the way down. So it's easier to do just the larger piece, then trim those down. I'm going to go ahead and adhere the first one to the top, the larger one to the top, a little bit of liquid glue. And I'm just going to avoid the little area by the notch because I don't want my punch to get sticky. So I'm going to go ahead and center that in right up to the edge there. Then I also have a 1 inch white panel. It's the same measurements. I'm going to go ahead and glue that on so that when I do my notch, it's all lined up together. So that gets adhered on right to the middle. Okay, so that's adhered. I'm going to do my 2 bottom panels, which are actually on the box. And you're just going to have about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. And one final one. I made a very similar treat box at Christmas time. And actually did a peekaboo window on that one. They came out really cute. It was a little bit an extra step because we did cut away and do a window sheet so that you could see inside the treat area. So now I've got these panels here, and I'm see I've got a little bit extra glue on here. I'm going to take care of that in a minute. I want to go ahead and do the notch up here, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to flip it over, bring in my punch again, and I'm just going to insert so that I can see where I need to punch. Just line that up, eliminate that. Oh, a little thicker this time, going through more layers of cardstock, and I didn't get it quite right. There we go. So we've got the notch for the gift card. We've got the top of the box and the front of the box decorated. Now I'm going to do some more decorating. So you can see what I'm shooting for. On the by the dock, I've got the little dock on a stitch circle. I've got the boat stamped in Night of Navy. The dock was in Crumb Cake. I'm going to go ahead and use just part of the sentiment. The sentiment itself actually says "here for you," but since this is a gift, I'm just going to do the "for you." And let's see, again, I'm using Night of Navy and Crumb Cake. And I did do the die cutting. I didn't do all the stamping. I've got my boat. I just stamped in Night of Navy. I used the die to cut that out. So the next thing I need to do, I've got a small circle, stitch circle, and it is the circle that measures about 1 7/8. So I'm going to stamp my dock, and obviously it's just going to be a portion of the dock just to give a little theme to the card. And I'm doing this in Crumb Cake. And I'm just going to need a portion of this dock here. So I'm going to ink down and stamp on. There we go. We've got the dock there. Then I also need, I'm going to push that aside for just a second. Don't need that. We're also going to need to stamp the sentiment, which is "for you." And again, it comes from "here for you." I'm just going to ink up the "for you." And I'm going to just avoid contacting the ink on the "here." Looks pretty clean. And stamp that down. There we go. I'm going to adhere the little circle, stitch circle right on there. And I've got some extra ink in there, so I think I'm going to cover that up. I'm not too worried about it because the boat is going to be there as well. So these stitch circle, I'm just going to apply with flat glue. The little boat, I'm going to pop on with dimensionals. And let's see, I'm just going to cover that up, bring that in, cover it up. There we go. And so you can see I've got the gift card portion done. I'm going to go ahead and close up the box. So here's where we've got our two little flaps. We've got the tab, and you can see that little notched edge. We're just going to push in there. Other side, close it. It's kind of nice because you can, here's what I need to mention. So sometimes because we're working on the 1/8, we might need to take our paper snips and just take off a little sliver of that so that it closes nice and clean. Much better. There we go. So on the front of the box, I went ahead and die cut the little grass area. This is one of the dies from the Coordinating by the Dock stamp set. And I flat adhered this, just a couple of dots of glue. Right on the front. Then I took the die to cut the textured oars. So this little set has 2 sets of oars. You can get the textured ones or you can get the smaller ones that are just outline. And I'm just going to secure these on with flat glue. So a little bit of glue on the back. You could use glue dots as well. And I'm just going to kind of spread it over there, swing it across. Whoops, it wasn't quite dry. And the second oar I'm going to put right up there. There we go. At a little angle here. And then the final step, I'm going to add some of that Night of Navy and Sahara sand twine. And I'm not doing a bow, I'm just going to do a little knot. This is on the Last Chance list and it's discounted at a great deal, so it's a good time to pick up some of the accessories. Just going to snip that off, and the easiest way to adhere twine or ribbon is with a glue dot. And I'm just going to take that knot straight up to the glue dot, put it right on one of the oars, and voila, we are done. So we've got that cute little treat box and gift card holder, perfect for Father's Day or birthdays, special occasions, whatever it happens to be. Nice, more masculine theme, masculine colors. I do have a couple of others I want to share with you, along with the card that I created also with the same By the Dock bundle. So I've got the coordinating card that goes with it. You can see the same elements, the boat, the oars, the dock. This one has a different sentiment. Same paper. This one I put on Night of Navy cardstock. So nice little coordinating set here that'll be a great gift to have on hand. I also did another design featuring another one of my favorites. I'm going to move that aside for a sec. The Timeless Tropical bundle. I created this little treat holder and gift card holder, again featuring that little vintage paneled wagon, those balmy trees, and the adorable little tropical trinkets. Rest and relax, you deserve it. Another great gift box for manly cards, even a little Home Depot gift card in there. Really cute box as well. And then last, not to leave off a funner theme, I've got also the Dino Days bundle, where I did a Your Roarsome box with that adorable little dinosaur and the hearts, love it, with a little gift card that goes inside there as well. So 3 different themes, all really nice for gift giving and whatever occasions you've got coming up. Pretty simple to do. It takes a little bit of scoring and a little bit of getting together with your paper trimmer and measuring tools, but it's well worth the effort. They're really cute gift boxes to make up. So if you would like to recreate this project, I will have the PDF in the comments section. If you'd like to join me for mystery stamping or any of my online classes, please be sure to sign up on my email list. There is a link over on this front page. Just go to email sign up, click and drop in your email address, and you'll get notified of upcoming events. I do have a mystery stamping coming up on Tuesday. And as always, if you need any of the supplies to recreate these projects, please click over to my store. It's annamarie.stampinup.net. If you'd like to check out some other projects, go over to the blog. It's annamariepomeran.com. So thanks for joining me on Friday. I will be back in the classroom on Tuesday for those club projects, as well as being on Zoom on Tuesday night for mystery stamping. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. Have a great weekend.